We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good.
Hello and welcome to La La Land on LA Talk Live. I'm Brett Chapin. Thanks for joining us on La La Land. It's the only nationally broadcast show by Los Angeles artists about Los Angeles artists on episode 182. We're getting a little bit of a late start today. Dorothy Dillingham Blue is not with us today. She is off on a big callback, and we wish her the best of luck on that. We'll be seeing her again next episode. And we're going to start right in because we got a little bit of a late start today. We are going to start with Sheena Ochoa. Thank you so much for joining us, Sheena.
Thanks for having me back. Aw, the applause. Thanks,
I always feel like I'm mispronouncing your name. Is it Sheena or
Shayna?
Shayna. See, yeah. I knew it. Shayna is the author of the Stella Adler biography, Stella Adler's very first biography, and she was on the show, I guess 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah,
like
when
that.
the book came out.
When the book came out. And what's been going on with the book? And
who knows?
The tour and everything.
It kind of goes into a vortex. In fact, on the way here, I was thinking. Put the mic. On the way here, I was thinking. It's kind of like I was at the honeymoon stage when I. Is that good? The volume good? When I came in, because the book had just come out and I was on tour and I was going to New York and and it's been a couple months and I don't know I don't even know that anybody knows how many copies have sold or how it's doing, and I was just kind of like, I'm gonna go in there today and talk about Stella, and I kind of just want to talk about my next book.
Okay. Stella's done and over with as far as writing goes. Well, as far as writing the book goes.
Yeah.
That part's done. So, what's your next project?
That was in jest. I could never stop talking about Stella.
Oh, okay.
And it would be criminal for me to not take this opportunity to talk about Stella Adler and the contributions she's made to American culture, Western culture.
Okay, please, let's go there. Let's talk about what contributions she's made.
Well, and that's why I wrote the book, which I think I kind of talked about last time, is that, and we were just talking about a second ago, is just, the way that actors perform today and the work that they concentrate on is staying true to what the writer has written, whether it's a screenplay or it's a play, a film. It's staying true to that intention and the themes of the work, and rather than something from inside of their own personal experience, so that they're actually lifting the work to the themes that the writer is trying to translate to the audience. And that was the crux of Stella's message. She would say, don't bring the work down to your little level. Lift it up. This is Mr. Ibsen we're talking about. This is Mr. Miller that we're talking about. And you have to bring, she would call it size, but what she meant was magnitude, to your work, mm-hmm. and to have researched the character, to know, what is the sociological background of this character? What were his or her relationships with their parents? What school did they go to? What occurrences happened in the life that would inform how they would identify with a certain conflict in the story now? What was the socioeconomic? What's going on in the world? What's going on in politics? Someone that grew up during Vietnam era is going to be different from a millennial today, and how they think about the world around them, how they speak, and how they interact.
So what made Stella different when she how is her method different from other methods?
Well, the two main it all came from Stanislavski.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first to create a comprehensive system to actually create a craft out of acting, because unlike architecture or music, you couldn't study acting. And then it was brought over to the United States when they came on tour, the Moscow Art Theater. And then what happened was that during the 30s, all of these young idealistic artists created the group theater. And Lee Strasberg was the director of that, one of three, but he was the person in charge of the acting. And he emphasized the idea of using sense memory, which is too complicated to go into. But what Stella had an argument with is him emphasizing that over the circumstances of the play and over the author's intention. And he thought that was secondary, and she thought, no, you do your homework and then you use your imagination, because you've never killed anyone before, or you've never lost a child before. So, you have to come from that place. And so and the reason why she had this rigor and this excellence of standard is because she was brought up with that from her parents on the Lower East Side and in the Yiddish theater. And I was thinking about, I thought, I've often thought of Stella as someone, her persona was larger than life. But I often thought of her as someone like Martin Luther King and Gandhi. And I thought, is that grandiose to compare her to these great humanistic icons? And I
maybe.
But I was thinking about it. Why? Why do I think of her on that level? And it is the humanity, and that's what it is. Is that her life was in service to opening up the truth of our human condition.
Sure, it's like Gandhi. It's just a different kind of service,
right?
And I think something that's interesting about the methods, and people seem to lump. From my way of thinking, people seem to lump Stella and Stanislavski and Strasberg all together, and as being a method that's very highbrow, and I have to become the character, and I have to change my voicemail on my answering machine to the character's name, and I won't answer to my real name. I have to answer to the character's name. And I don't think that Stella necessarily, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that she necessarily pushed full immersion into a character.
Yeah, and what you're talking about right now is a complete bastardization, not only of Stella but of Strasberg.
Right.
Because Strasberg never said, when you're offset or when you're off stage, you still continue to be the character. This is something that some actors do because it works for them today. We can name a handful of them, and they're great actors, and it works for them. But at what cost? It's that right. Old story in Marathon Man with Dustin Hoffman and Olivier. And, Dustin Hoffman has to come in like he's, tore up from the floor because he's unshaven and had drunk a lot the night before. And so he goes out and he does that. And he stays up all night. He comes into, on set. And Olivier looks at him and he says, "Dear boy, why don't you try acting? It's much easier."
Yeah, the famous story. It's so much easier when you just use that.
Yeah.
How much, you're an actress yourself?
I am not. I'm a writer.
Not? Okay. So in your writing, how much of your personal experience goes into that, and how much of it is?
So that's interesting because just last night I had an event on Wednesday night. It was great with these two awesome casting directors and these two actors, and we were all talking about all of this stuff. And this man came up to me afterwards who had a love ship kind of with Stella. She was famous for her, liaisons with men. But this is later in life. He was in his late 30s and she was in her early 80s. And he actually got her to do a class at the Chino prison for women, an acting class where she started up a relationship through correspondence with one of the Manson killers, one of the Manson girls. And so it was really interesting. Wow. But he said, but he's a teacher at Antioch, and he brought her in to discuss Picasso's paintings, the famous sketchings of the bull, and the way that she dissected and diagnosed what it is that Picasso was doing. It was the same way that she did in class, which was what she was famous for, was script analysis, and the same way that a writer or any artist really does, and that is that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Stella lived her life. She was a glutton for beauty. And so even though she had been brought up with the Renaissance and paintings, and the Victorian era paintings and realism, she was looking at this abstract bull and how it became more like from realistic to more and more abstract. And in the beginning, it's a bull. She looks at it and she just says, it's there, but it doesn't have a place. There's no place. It's just a picture of a bull. And so it's not, the reality is not there. And so what you have is you have the artist being more important than the creator, because they've taken this object and the creation itself is no longer relevant. And it's just funny, because then she said, I think this would make me go to church.
It makes sense. Yeah, it would.
Yeah. And so, and that was Stella. She was just, everything was so important, and life was lived, on this level of passion that it was infectious, and she is still influencing people today.
Absolutely.
The young actors that were there the other night, one dressed up because he thought Stella would dress up tonight. She would not come in blue jeans.
Makes sense.
So.
Yeah, she was a great person. We're talking with Sheena Ochoa of the book Stella, A Life in Art. People can pick up the book on your website, right?
People can pick up the book anywhere. It's on, in Barnes and Nobles, or what's the other one?
Amazon.
It's all over Amazon. And if you're in LA, Samuel French. If you're in New York, the Drama Bookshop. It's everywhere. So,
awesome.
But it's called Stella,
with a capital.
Mother of Modern
letters.
Acting.
Mother of Modern Acting.
Yes.
A Life in Art is not your book.
No, that's my blog.
That's your blog. Okay.
That's where you can find stories that aren't in the book.
Very nice.
And actually, one's gonna be posted this weekend, so it's a new thing that I just discovered. People come out of the woodworks, and I'm thinking, oh man, I wish I would have known this. It would have been great for this chapter.
Sure. And you can find that book at anywhere, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, or going to SheenaOchoa.com, SHEANAOCHOA.
Yeah, SHEANAOCHOA.com.
What she said.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sheena Ochoa.
Sheena Ochoa.
Shea as in Shea Stadium. Shea as in Shayna Maidel.
That makes it easy to remember.
Yeah.
I know that there was a little bit, and I don't know how much you can or are able to talk about this, but I know that there was a little rift in Stella's family, a separation between the Art of Acting studio and the Stella Adler Theater in Hollywood and the one in New York. Can you tell our audience anything about any of that?
I could, but I don't think it's relevant to who she was as a person or her work or her contribution to acting craft. It's just kind of, sensationalism. The fact is that they're not affiliated, it's.
I just think it's interesting with the split in schools, not the drama of it. But
the work itself is intact. Obviously, it's watered down because it would be someone who studied with Stella in New York, Ron Burrus, in LA, Milton Justice, and a lot of other teachers who studied with Stella. And naturally, they're going to bring their own life experience to the work. But the technique is very rational. It's very logical. And as I was just explaining, that you need to know the circumstances of the character and the author's intention and be true to that. And that you find that by being in the moment, being within those circumstances, and the emotion will naturally, you will emote from that, from putting yourself in that place. Do you know, as opposed to, say, the famous, okay, just give me a minute while I get into character.
Yeah,
it's just, but some people need that. And I think people that aren't as in touch with their emotional life may need that. And
Well, if
my
it works
job was
for you.
not to judge one over the other. I tried my best because I did work at the Stella Adler Academy, and I saw the work. So, and I knew that there was this rift between Strasberg and Stella, and Strasberg wasn't the most likable person in the world in the first place.
Right.
So, so I tried my best to be objective, in discussing his craft and his method, as opposed to Stella's technique. And so, what you get from the book is part of it, like a B story, the B plot, is the evolution of modern acting, as well as the life of, Stella Adler, the very personal life of Stella Adler.
Great.
Yeah.
Make sure to pick up Shana Ochoa's book. SheanaOchoa.com is her website. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thanks
Shana.
for having me.
Appreciate it.
Of course, anytime. Thank you.
You want to just go on? Okay. We'll just move
Why
on
not?
without a commercial break.
Yeah, why not? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, we're a little short on time. Some host was late getting here. I don't know who.
I don't know who that was, you know what I mean?
I don't like that guy.
You know what I mean? But that's all right.
I look forward to reading.
So we're gonna move on to The Vortex. Is playing right now at the Matrix Theater. Gene Franklin Smith is the director. Craig Robert Young is calling in. Craig, you can call in anytime. And Victoria Hoffman and Shannon Holtz are two actresses from the show. And here is The Vortex, playing at the Matrix Theater November 13th through December 14th. Oh, you have a nice long run there. Excellent.
A month.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Thanks.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Oh, applause.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Big
Thank you.
studio audience. So last time we had you on the show, you were on the phone, so we didn't get to see your lovely faces. But you are doing The Vortex again. At that time, you were in Malibu, and now you are at the Matrix Theater.
Yep.
Can you tell us how it moved from the
Sure.
Malibu to the Matrix?
I was the artistic director of Malibu Playhouse at the time.
I'm sorry, one
Is it-
second. Craig,
okay,
is that
caller
you?
ends.
Yeah, I think this might be Craig.
Craig Robert
Yes.
Young.
That's
Hi, Craig.
Hello.
Hey, Craig.
And this is Craig
How's it
Robert Young.
going?
Okay, thanks for calling, Craig. I'm sorry, go
Yeah,
on.
absolutely.
okay.
Thanks for having us.
Sure.
So we did this as part of the season, the 2013-2014 season. And I had updated the show to 1965, and it brought in a lot of people to come see this play who it's rarely done, who came to see the play. However, Malibu Playhouse is way out, way west Malibu.
Oh, yeah.
So, although we had incredible audiences coming from Los Angeles, the cast and some of the crew, we talked about doing it in a place that's more central Los Angeles, so more people could see it. So
Great.
the play is it's very infrequently performed, which is a mystery to all of us working on it. And The Matrix just happened to be available for the
Fantastic.
5-week periods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I finally get to see it,
Yeah,
too.
it was wonderful. Yeah.
Forward to it.
There's just a feeling that, I mean, because it's so seldom produced and because it is, in the canon of Coward, it's so unlike, so many of the later plays. We felt a need and urgency and just a great love, the sense of sharing this with a wider audience. And there was so much interest in LA that we thought, okay, how can we make this happen? And we did.
And you did.
Yes.
Yep.
Through an Indiegogo campaign.
Brutal.
Yeah, well,
We got there, but
And a fundraising party.
the fundraising party at Vaucluse.
Yes.
and you ended up getting there on the Indiegogo?
Yeah,
Good,
Yeah,
good.
there were some
I know
private
it was
donations
close
as
for a
well.
while.
Yeah, it was. It's always close. I'm sweating bullets, but
Yeah.
we had some private donations as well come in, and
That's great.
it's been it was wonderful because we got a lot of support from all over, from different a dear friend of mine in England donated a whole bunch of money.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this play is that this play is quite revered in England.
Can you tell us about the plot, actually?
Yeah,
for
yeah.
audience who might not know it?
Well, when it opened in 1924, it was considered really scandalous because it's about this young man who brings his fiancée home excuse me, to meet his mother. And his mother is a well-known socialite and a complete narcissist. And the two women take immediate dislike to each other. But adding to all of this is that Florence, the mother, is dating a guy who's 24, Nikki's age, and the son's age. And Nikki's fiance and Florence's boy toy end up hooking up and taking off together over this terrible, terrible weekend, which is a really bad party. But what happens is that it forces Nikki and Florence to really confront each other as to what's the heart of their incredibly dysfunctional relationship. And so Nikki is also drug addicted and somewhat alcoholic, and Florence is a complete narcissist. So the tone shifts dramatically from Act 1 to Act 3. In that the first act is very much like what we know Coward to be, the witty bon mots and snappy characters.
And cocktails flowing.
And cocktails and lots of cigarettes.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah,
Does it have that snappy dialogue?
It
like
does.
the rest
It
of the
does.
shows?
It does.
That's
And then in the second act, it starts taking a darker turn as Nikki's drug habit becomes more and more apparent. And then by the third act, it's a confrontation between Nikki and Florence in the bedroom, and it's like Ibsen. It gets that deep and dramatic. And what's amazing about it is that he wrote it in 1924, and you would swear it was written today. It's so contemporary in the relationships, in the language, the dialogue. It's something you'd see on a reality TV show.
Yeah, you're comparing Coward to Ibsen. It
I
seems
know.
like a stretch, but I can't wait to see the show now.
Yeah, it's unusual, and he never really wrote anything like it again. He certainly did dramatic pieces, but going from comedy to really stark drama was. I don't believe he ever did it again.
And when two things. I mean, he came back to it at the end of his life in that last play, A Song of Twilight, that they did at Pasadena Playhouse last season, where it was much more dramatic. But, being that, Craig on the phone and Shannon in studio, that last act is all theirs. And they are such extraordinary actors. And they dig so deep that this scene, it's so gorgeous, and it's so heartbreaking, and people are so engaged and involved and touched,
We actually had at Malibu Playhouse.
Amazing.
It was what was remarkable, and I had no idea it would have this effect on people. But after every show, because I was at every performance, there would be a mother, a parent, would come up to me and say, I can't believe this. I haven't been talking to my son for years. I'm going to reach out to him right now. So it has that effect.
That's great.
Yes, Craig.
What were you saying, Craig?
I was going to say, Doris. I actually just had lunch with Doris Roberts from Everybody Loves Raymond. She came out to see the play, and she said the exact same thing. She said, after the play, it made her think about her relationship with her son, and she got on the phone with him and mended her relationship. So, it definitely is a play that affects people into change, which is, what it's all about, really, at the end of the day.
Craig, can you tell us a little bit about your character in the Vortex?
Sure, yeah. Nicky Lancaster is obviously the son of Florence, and he has been away in Paris for a year studying. I use the term studying loosely. He's a pianist, and he's there studying with the greats. But he's a bit of a wild child and kind of loses his way and ends up having a lot more fun over in Paris. And one of the things that we talk about with Coward is that he wrote in code an awful lot, because in 1927, you couldn't really talk. It was one of the first plays that talked about drugs and also latent homosexuality. And he talks a lot about temperament, which is code for sexuality in the play. And, Nicky is dealing with who he is inside of him. And through the rehearsal process this time, we're discovering more and more new things and nuances, which is great, reverting back to the text. And I think Nicky is struggling with his own identity and his own sexuality, and is conflicted with doing the right thing and what he is supposed to do and behave like. And when he's in Paris, he kind of feels like he has his freedom, and independence to be who he wants to, who he was born to be. So coming home, that's kind of all of his backstory. And so coming home to his mother with this exciting news that he thinks that she wants to hear, but she's so absorbed in her own world that she forgets that she doesn't really care about how he feels, or it's all about how it affects her. So he kind of goes into this spiral throughout the play, and it's kind of an interesting journey from how you see him at the beginning to how he actually ends up. So for me personally, as an actor, it's a real great challenge, and I just love playing this character.
Sure.
Howard wrote it as a bit of a showpiece for himself, actually, if you look back in it, and it definitely is something that I can sink my teeth into and really enjoy playing each night with a wonderful cast, obviously.
And it's interesting that you say that you're finding new things this new time around at the Matrix, because you would think you have everything, but if you I always think that there's always new things to be found in theater and shows. Is this performance and any of you can answer this, is this performance different for you from the Malibu Playhouse show insofar as your character? Have your characters changed and developed in any ways?
Yeah.
Oh,
First, yeah.
yeah. Well, they haven't changed. I think. I just think when you step away from something and then you for a while, it's still in your bones, as they say, and you come back to it, and it's just there's the things that you've already absorbed that are in there, and then you start percolating again, like when you're in rehearsal, and it's just easier. It just starts coming out of you more, because it's you've rehearsed it, and you know the people and the story and what you're trying to do on stage, and I think it just is a deepening, if anything, and probably more of an ease that we will all have. But we haven't even done our first run through yet. We've just been rehearsing our scenes, so we'll see what happens when we put it all together.
Yeah, you got the lines down.
Well, yeah,
that part's out of the way.
Yeah, that's true.
There's what I've found with the characters, and it's a sense of opening up, because at Malibu Playhouse, even though it has a decent sized stage, we had the set bisected. So the first act and the second act, it was kind of constrained space-wise for the actors, and so we had to keep everything. Yeah, we had to keep everything within a smaller space. We're now at the Matrix, as you know, it's very wide, and we are having revolving set now from going from Act 1 to Act 2, so we don't have to worry about the space. So suddenly it's opened us all up, because that stage, as people who have gone to the Matrix know, it's 40 feet wide. So it's quite, I think it's actually a little longer with the extensions, but
we're not using all of it.
No, we're not using all of it.
Oh my goodness.
But I know, but it does open it up, and it opens up I've seen the actors all open up character-wise for things that they hadn't explored. Or, they did, say, 30 performances at Malibu Playhouse, and when you're doing that, you learn things, of course, as the run goes on. And so with the first day of rehearsal, everyone was coming in with, as Shannon said, the knowledge of these characters, but in working more with them and with this sense of opening up, I've found them discovering new aspects, and my watching them as well. When you now watch Nikki and Florence on stage together, the reason they cannot communicate is the two of them are so much alike. And I don't think we really saw that at the Malibu production. It was always that Florence was the narcissist in this relationship, and that Nikki was the tortured soul, the injured boy, the little boy that couldn't grow up, the Peter Pan. But now as we've been working on this, you can see, well, Nikki is caught up in his own world as well. And so these two, Helen plays the mediator between the two until this third act, when it's the worst possible situation that these two narcissists are thrown into a room together, and Nikki is so high. So high. Really, you know that something's going to explode. Something will happen.
It's interesting too when you come back to it, Brett. It's like we have this much more time of our own personal relationships as well. So we know one another so much better, and so there's more of that to bring to the characters who have had a lifetime together. right?
Yes.
So since we know one another better, there's that additional layer of history that we can bring in, and ease and communication and shorthand,
Yeah.
even emotional shorthand that
Yeah.
just it just makes it all, I think, richer. It
Yeah.
gives us more to play with. And if you think about it, and you know this as well because you make theater as well. Small theater, 99 seat, even less. A lot of these theaters, the runs are so short. It might be 6 weeks, but at a full equity house, or on Broadway, that would only be 3 weeks of a run.
Right.
And that's your whole run. That's it. That's all the time you got.
Yeah.
So to get more time is a real gift.
It is, yeah, because
sure.
we ran just three performances a week in our run in Malibu. So at least we have 4 a week now, Thursday through Sunday. Sunday matinees at 3.
Thank you for advertising,
Ladies
Shannon.
and gentlemen, which is a fantastic time to go see a play. I think I love the
It's quite
matinees.
true.
By the way, I should throw in here
and
that Shannon is nominated for an ovation for not for the Vortex,
wow.
but for her
Yay.
incredible 3 roles that she played in Passion Play. Yeah,
Thank you.
So
Fantastic.
we're crossing our
That's
fingers that
sweet.
she wins that.
Congratulations.
She played one of the
Thank you.
scariest Hitlers ever. I saw the
awesome.
performance.
I will be there to watch you win.
Yay.
Oh,
Can't
that's
wait.
very sweet. Well, we don't know. I don't know. It'll be just a fun night to go. So.
Oh, stop being
Although-
modest.
She is. Shannon's our theater goddess. We all know. We all know she is.
No.
Well, you can actually go online and get information on the Vortex at place411.com/vortex, by
Tickets
the way.
are on sale now.
And
Yes.
tickets are on sale now. Get them. What were you saying, Greg? I cut you off there.
I was just going to say, it's just backing on with what everybody else was saying about Shannon. It's for me, it's such a joy to work opposite, as Jean said, theatre royalty. She's just such a giving actress, and so
You are so sweet.
It's such a special time being on stage with her and Victoria, actually.
Let me just.
Victoria and I have been working on our friendship and and our relationship with these characters. But also just working with Shannon is just such a dream, and everybody must just come and see her because she's amazing.
Well, that's
We
good.
did the big Act 3 scene earlier this week, and our stage manager, we have a new stage manager, Ben Sculia, and he hadn't seen it before. He didn't see the Malibu production, and so we worked through the scene, and at the end of it, he went, "Oh my God, these 2 actors, they're so emotionally available." And it's just, it's an amazing thing to watch Shannon and Craig really go at it for that 20-minute scene.
That's
Yeah,
quite
it's
fun to
really,
watch
it's one of the most satisfying, fulfilling theater experiences I've ever had, and I'm really old. And
Oh, come on.
no, it's true. And every night with Craig was just also going on stage knowing you have such a terrific person and partner to be on stage with which is everything in the theater.
That-
We all know
That you
it's so
trust,
difficult.
yeah.
It's a complete trust that we just both knew whatever's going to happen is going to be right for the moment, and that's how we both approached it, and we were in tandem on that. And so I just found like every single night, usually in a night I go, oh, that didn't work so well, just as a personal the actor thing.
Sure.
But every night I go off, I'd come back off stage and think that it was a wonderful, wonderful experience because we both just played in the moment and trusted each other. And
Isn't that a great experience? It's so much
It
more
is.
fun than
It's
saying
rare.
that didn't work.
But it's
Yeah,
rare.
it is.
I
It is.
found it to be one of the most. That's why I just cherished it every time I'd walk off stage, and I would just like hug him, and thank him because you don't get that kind of experience at all. Maybe once or twice if you're lucky, and I feel really strongly with Craig Robert Young and his beautiful work and his partnership is incredible.
Likewise,
so I just want to say
it's
that.
just such a,
Sure.
True.
a joy, and I think that's what's the nice thing about this play, and also Gene's direction is that he's allowed us
He's letting us do
to
it, yeah.
find these characters, but also allows us to have that freedom once we are on stage.
Yeah.
And
he
to
cast
be moment
us.
to moment.
Which was much appreciated,
He
by
was
the
so
way.
lovely to cast us. That's what that's the first sign of
Well,
a
it's
really good
interesting
director.
when you talk about the personal relationship that you all have and the bonding you do. I don't think audiences or people that aren't involved in theater realize how important that is on stage and how much
Yeah.
it shows on stage if that isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can really
It's
pick up in
everything.
it in the
It's
audience.
everything. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything.
So that's great that you guys have built a close community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I have to throw in just really quickly our other cast members
Yeah, I
who
was
are
gonna
not
say,
here.
too.
So the gorgeous Sky LaFontaine plays Bunty, the fiance from hell. And Sky was Don LaFontaine's daughter, the very famous voiceover artist
The
for
Inner World
Yeah.
voiceover artist.
And
Oh,
she's just
Daughter.
she's beautiful. She's lovely. She's we call her the it girl. But what I love is that Sky brings this naivete but real cunning to it. And then Cameron Mitchell Jr. plays Pawnee, who is, I guess, older Noel Coward stand-in, the gay friend who adores
Bachelor. The
Bachelor,
Bachelor,
yeah,
as they
The
call
who
him, yeah.
who adores Shannon,
Of a
and he
certain
brings just impeccable timing and humor to his role because
Yes.
he has many of the funny one-liners. Daniel Jimenez, who plays Florence's boy toy, marvelous. Deep actor, very handsome, and
Man
works
candy.
man
Man
candy,
candy.
and is just incredibly vulnerable in playing kind of the dim bulb who gets caught in the battle between the two women. And our new cast member, John Mawson, who is David, the kind of forgotten husband, Florence's forgotten husband, and he's also English as of course Craig is.
Another one of our legitimate
Yes,
Brits.
and
Excellent.
we've only recently been starting to work with John, and again, he just brings so much to the table as an actor. He's such
Yeah.
depth and warmth and humor, and so it's just this really wonderful ensemble that we all enjoy working together, and hope that audiences will enjoy watching them on stage.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
From the good things that I heard about it at the Malibu, I'm sure it
Yeah.
can get only better.
Thank you.
Absolutely. The Vortex. Go see The Vortex. Anything else you want our audience to know about the show before we...
The Vortex.
It has
Before you
incredible
run off to
music. I
rehearsal.
know we have to actually
We-
run to rehearsal. We have.
Yeah.
I wanted one of the things is that music is really important in the show, and Coward wrote music into the play, not songs, but there are definitely sections of the play. The story is dependent on the music. And so we've completely honored that, but it's just this really wonderful, cool music up. Everything up until December 1965 is fair game, and so it's incorporated. And we have there's some go-go dancing as well, because Coward actually has them dancing in the play. But we're now in 1965, so the twist and the frug are more the thing than the
All right.
foxtrot. So
Also,
Changes.
we're right at the holidays, and so
that's right. There's a little bit of
Yeah.
a holidays bling to all of
It's a
this.
lovely way to spend a
Oh,
little
that was the
holiday
thing going back
cheer.
to the original
Absolutely.
text and getting those, the time period, not just the time period, but the time of year. And there's a lot of references in there to allude that this is the holiday season. So it kind of makes sense that we're doing it again around the holidays too. So we'll be definitely bringing some of that into it.
The only thing that I
great.
will say, and I'll take an opportunity to speak in my more Cowardian voice, if
Love
I
it.
may, is that we only run for a month. So don't waste time. Get your tickets now.
Get your tickets now for The Vortex.
Place
Playing
411.
at the Matrix Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Place 411/Vortex. Can we bring that her in? Okay. Larissa, if you are listening, hold on and we will get right with you. Yeah, so go see The Vortex. Place411.com/Vortex. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Brett,
Brett.
so
Brett, for
much.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brett. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
See you
Gene,
later in rehearsals, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gene Franklin
Bye.
Smith, Victoria Hoffman,
Thank you.
Shannon Holt, and Craig Robert Young on the phone from The Vortex, playing at the Matrix Theater, place411.com/Vortex. Thank you again.
Thanks.
Yay.
Great. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
And without further ado, we are going to not take a commercial break and go directly to... And she hung up. Okay. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back on La La Land on LA Talk Live.
That was fun. Thank you for doing that for us.
Thanks, Brett.
Hey,
preacher's son. And when his daddy would visit, he'd come along. When they gathered around and started talking, Cousin Billy would take me walking. Out through the backyard we go walking. Then he looked into my eyes. Lord knows to my surprise, the only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Yes, he was. Being good isn't always easy, no matter how hard I try. When he started sweet talking to me, he'd come and tell me everything is alright. He'd kiss and tell me everything is alright. Can I get away again tonight? The only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was.
Hey, Madison.
Hey,
Hey, 2 minutes and we're going on air, okay?
cool, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Stealing kisses from me on the slide. Taking time to make time. Telling me that he's all mine. Learning from each other's knowing. Looking to see how much we've grown. And the only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Oh, yes, he was.
Hubert's Lemonade, tasty, refreshing, sweet and tart. Happiness in a bottle. Visit Hubert's Lemonade at hubertslemonade.com. Once again, that's hubertslemonade.com. Happiness in a bottle. Xavier Tees and Tots, groundbreaking fashion, forward street smart designs. Tees and Tots for men, women, and boys. Visit XavierUSA.com. Once again, that's XavierUSA.com.
Hey, oh, hey, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to La La Land on LA Talk Live. I'm Brett Chapin. Dorothy Dillingham Blue is not with us today, but we'll be back next week. And we have on the phone Madison Hatter.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Madison. Thank you so much. And I know Madison isn't your real name, but I just call you Madison because it's easier. But your band name is Madison Hatter. And thank you so much for being patient and calling back. We originally had Madison calling in a little earlier, but we asked her to call back due to a little delay in the show. But that's okay. Madison Hatter has a show tonight at the Whiskey.
No, it's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow
night, it's Sunday, back at Whiskey A Go Go. And thank you so much for having me back on your show, by the way.
Oh,
really
no problem.
Appreciate it.
You're an old friend of the show. What is this, like your 6th or 7th appearance? We're happy to have you.
I think, I think it might be the 6th time maybe. So thank you again.
Yeah, of course. Now, your show tomorrow night is at the Whiskey A Go Go. What time does it start?
The doors open at 8, and then we go on at 9.
Okay.
And we have a half-hour set. We have a couple other bands playing for us, with us. We have Vintage City Rockers that go on after us. And then we're opening for Tom Kiefer, who, if you guys are rock fans, I'm sure you'll know, he's the lead singer of Cinderella. And he just came out with a solo album, which is dynamite. So I'm really excited that we're getting to open for him and hopefully get to meet him as well. He's a huge influence on my music.
Cool. How you doing, Madison? Long time no see in here.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, this is Van.
How are you?
Pretty good. Whiskey A Go Go.
Woohoo!
I'm
excited. The last time we played there was back in January with Buck Cherry, so it's definitely been a minute. I'm really stoked to take the stage and have a fun night.
I feel like you would be really, really, and I know you used to live in LA, but I feel like if you came here and just did the whole Sunset circuit for, 6 months, I see you taking off and having a star on the Walk of Fame pretty soon. What keeps you?
Oh, wow.
What
Thank
keeps
you. I appreciate that.
Sure. What keeps you from moving to LA? You just kind of have other commitments and other things going on out where you are?
I do, yeah. I did live in LA for 6 years. I went to school out here. I went to UCLA and then stayed for another couple years. And I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up in New Jersey and moved back there a couple years ago. So that's kind of where my roots are. And I love LA. I love the music scene in LA. I also love the music scene in New Jersey as well. And we have a cool show coming up in New Jersey in December as well. But that's like where I work and where I live. Awesome music people out there, radio people and promoters and venues. So whenever I have the opportunity to come out to LA and play, I do. But I am not sure that I would move back out here at this moment in time. That could change. But I love being able to have access to both right now.
Absolutely. And you come out here pretty often. I mean, you're out in LA a few times a year, so people, your LA fans do get a chance to see you when you're out here.
Definitely, yeah.
Now, people can find all your information and your music and your upcoming tour schedule on MadisonHatter.com, right?
Yes, everything is there. Also links to like my YouTube and iTunes, which all my music is on iTunes. Just released a music video about a month ago now, and that's on YouTube. But everything, MadisonHatter.com is the hub of everything.
Nice. And you actually have another show out here mid-November, right?
I do. That's why this trip is so quick. I got in yesterday and I'm leaving Monday. But my next show, besides this one tomorrow, is also at Whiskey A Go-Go, and that's Friday, November 14th. And that's going to be a great show. We're opening for Winger, who is also a fantastic 80s band that I really look up to. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it
the
sounds
Whiskey
great.
Go-Go is always a fun time. We hang out after, brought along some merch to sell, and I'm looking forward to meeting everybody that comes to the show as well.
Very nice. And your CD is going to be on sale at the show. What's the name of your CD again?
It sure is. It's an EP called Pretty Little Fool, and I brought that along. We have some hats and some shirts as well that we'll be selling. And speaking of the CD, I actually just recorded my first full-length album, which a couple of the songs from the EP is kind of the foundation of this new album. But it's 10 original new songs, and we're working on that now. Everything's recorded. We're in the process of mixing everything. And once everything gets mixed and mastered and kind of shopped around and promoted, we should be releasing it in early 2015. That's what we're shooting for. So we will be performing some of those songs live for the very first time tomorrow night at Whiskey A Go-Go. But those are not yet for sale. So everybody has to stay tuned for that.
That's awesome. But they will get a sneak preview tomorrow night at the Whiskey A Go-Go. So
Absolutely. We're debuting 3 or 4 new songs that are all on that album.
Oh, very cool. So, one of the things that I noticed about your performance is, and something that I think that makes you stand out from other artists that are in your same genre, is your energy. You're very, very high energy on stage, a lot of movement, a lot of, just high energy. What are some other things that you think might make you different or might make you stand out from the crowd in the music scene? What makes Madison Hatter's music different?
I have a lot of influences from various musical genres. Aerosmith is my all-time favorite band ever, so I think there's a little bit of that in there. I love Fleetwood Mac, kind of like the more folky rock, but still like radio-friendly. And then I love like the hair music of the 80s. So... Mm-hmm. and AC/DC too. There's all of that mixed in, and maybe like a country twang as well. All of that in my writing and in my performance and my music. Even, you know, like Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix, like 60s era, all of that is in there. So I think that might contribute to why my music sounds a little bit different, is that there's so many different influences going on.
Yeah, I think that's so helpful when you just don't stick to one type of music or one group of artists growing up. You know, I feel like the kids that grew up with a variety are the ones that, you know, when they become musicians, they become more successful because they have Beethoven and then they have Winger, you know? So
Right, totally. I actually saw a study recently that classical music and heavy metal music are actually a lot more similar than one would think. Based on like the different themes that go on in the song. In like one song, there's like a million different themes and the orchestration and everything. That it actually, I think it triggers the same like brain activities listening to and they're totally different types of music, but they're more similar than we would think.
Oh, that's really interesting. It
yeah.
causes the
Can't
same.
remember where I read that. It was online somewhere. Hopefully it was true and not on like The Onion or something.
But it makes sense because I mean, I'm no incredible musician or anything, but I know that metal and classical music have sort of the same tone and the same rhythm. They have similar rhythms, but being completely different types of music. So it makes sense to me.
Exactly, yeah. There's similar nuances, and that can be said with a lot of musical genres. That's one of the reasons why I like to listen to so many different types of music.
Absolutely. Well, I cannot wait to see you perform again, and have a great time tomorrow night at the Whiskey.
Thank you so much. I'm excited that you're coming. It'll be an awesome time.
For sure. Madison Hatter. You can find information on Madison Hatter at madisonhatter.com. That's MADYSINHATTER.com. Tomorrow night, the Whiskey A Go-Go. Doors open at 7. Get there early. Get your spot at the front of the stage. That's always the best place to see Madison. That's where we were standing when we saw her last.
I know, man. Yeah, great seats. Yeah, great view.
Right at the front.
Right at the front.
I could see her guitar player sweating.
Exactly. You know, fans that we are.
Absolutely.
You know, exactly.
Yeah, when I go to concerts, too, I like to stand right in the front, get some pictures, and just see, like, the interactions between the band members. It's always a cool place to chill.
Totally. I think I even got a high five from you last time up on stage.
Yay!
Have an awesome show. Okay, we'll come back and join us again when you are back out here. Okay, Madison.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Cool. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, Madison Hatter.
That's right.
You know, I'm just breathing a little small sigh of relief just because it was a little late start today. I'm taking the mic out of its stand just so I can hold it. And just tell you that I'm relieved that we got through it.
There you go.
It was a great show. We had some really great guests.
Exactly.
And good people to talk to. I wish we had started on time, but that was my fault. So that's okay.
That's all right, man. You know, being the professional actor that you are, you came in and knocked it out the park. A grand salami.
Yes.
As in baseball.
Being the professional actor like I am, I acted just like an idiot. Just kidding. Yeah. No, but thank you to all our guests today. We had a jam-packed show and no guest co-host today, so thank you to all our guests. Madison Hatter, Shannon Holt, Gene Franklin Smith, Craig Robert Young, Victoria Hoffman, and Shayna Ochoa.
There you go.
And that's it for La La Land.
All right. Well, once again, knocked it out the park.
Oh, yeah.
Oops, wrong song.
Oh, it's a theme song twice. That's all right.
There you go. Here it is.
That's all right. We're going to be on hiatus next week, and we will be back with the next episode of La La Land Talk on LA Talk Live. We'll see you at the top.